I'll tell you about an incredible dream. It began with me simply walking along a serene path. As I continued, I saw an old man, ethereal and glowing with a soft, silver mist. His white robes and long beard radiated such a comforting energy. I knew he was a warlock, yet he seemed incredibly wise and kind, not at all menacing. Then, as if he'd cast a spell, the path transformed. My shoes vanished, and I felt the cool dew of lush green grass between my toes. Rocky hills in the distance melted and reformed into mystical pillars, resembling the Parthenon. They weren't silent. I could almost hear them whispering ancient secrets on the breeze. It was a breathtaking, truly magical scene. The warlock had led me through a narrow passage that opened into a huge hall. Ominous black pillars, scarred and broken, loomed around us. Beyond a crumbling stone gate, a spiral staircase descended into a dark abyss, with mysterious, unlit flames along the walls. The warlock floated down the stairs effortlessly, but I, struggling, had to follow. Each step led me deeper into the unknown, a journey into the very heart of a mystery.
Anyways, I followed the warlock deep into the abyss, down a spiral staircase that seemed to have no end. At the very bottom, in the eerie silence, a woman floated above the ground. She was sinister, dressed in all black, with skin so pale it was almost bluish white, and eyes as black as pitch. She was training her students, shadowy figures seated in dark smoke. In her hand, she manipulated a cricket ball-sized insect, bending it to her will with pure dark energy. As I stepped closer, her full gaze met mine for the first time. It was the Banshee, a horrifying being, and in that moment, I knew this wasn't just a dream. It was a confrontation. Banshee's skin was a pale bluish white, and her eyes were empty voids of blackness. As I stepped forward, her cold gaze fell upon me. It was a stare so intense, it felt as if she were peering directly into my soul. In that moment, all sound faded. The air grew thick and heavy. She said nothing, but her silent stare was a challenge. A million terrifying possibilities flashed through my mind. What did she want? Was this a test, a threat, or something far worse? My dream had become a silent, dreadful confrontation, and the next move was unknown. The warlock simply vanished, dissolving into a shimmering silver mist. All that remained was the Banshee. The Banshee's deathly gaze latched onto me, and I felt a cold sweat break out on my skin. A mix of fear and determination twisted my gut. Suddenly, she let out a piercing scream. The sound waves were so powerful, I could see them vibrating through the air. In a flash, she enveloped me in a ball of crackling, thundering, black aura. Lightning bolts of dark energy pulsed around me. I gritted my teeth, pain coursing through my body, and growled in frustration. I had to fight. I struggled, pushing against the overwhelming force, desperate to free myself from her grip. I found myself in a dark cave, lit only by cold white flames that danced on nothing. Eerie shadows phased in and out of view, like wandering spirits, while bats hung from the ceiling, completely uninterested. I heard faint, unintelligible whispers, as if lost souls were muttering to themselves. I was at the center of it all, levitating in a cross-legged position. A calm stillness came over me, as my eyes turned a pure, solid white. A crackling sphere of black and white aura surrounded me, pulsing with energy. All around me, the Banshee's world continued in a blur, her lessons and movements a fast-forwarded scene. Time itself seemed to be flying by, yet I remained suspended, a point of stillness in the chaos, as if in a timeless trance.
I stood there, a newly formed warlock, facing the Banshee with a newfound confidence. But as her proud gaze met mine, something shifted. It wasn't a physical change, but an internal one. A sudden violent explosion in my mind. The present moment with her shattered like a mirror. Suddenly, I was watching everything at once. I saw fragments of my childhood, a forgotten mistake I made years ago. I saw the cave in the present, the shadows and the flames. And then, terrifyingly, I saw visions of the future. Not just mine, but the world's. A tapestry of joy and sorrow yet to be woven. It was a chaotic, dizzying flood of information. The Banshee wasn't the scary part. The abyss wasn't the scary part. The true terror was this terrible weight of knowing, seeing all of time laid bare before me. I had just tapped into a whole new definition of scary, and it was my own mind. I emerged from the deep abyss of the cave, leaving the Banshee's lair behind. The air was crisp and clear, a stark contrast to the oppressive darkness below. There, waiting for me, was the Warlock, a figure of silent, shimmering silver mist. He offered a knowing nod, a silent acknowledgement of my transformation. But my gaze was no longer on him. My eyes were drawn to the sky, and I saw reality I could never have imagined. It wasn't just a single sky anymore. It was an infinite expanse. Above me, I saw all the multiverses at once, their realities overlapping like threads in a cosmic tapestry. Worlds and galaxies spiraled into existence in the same space, different suns rising and setting in the same moment. It was a dizzying, beautiful, and utterly terrifying display. My dream had led me to the edge of all things, and I was seeing the universe from the eyes of a god.